It's a journey.
The way out of feeling isolated when you're a young person who has experienced homelessness.
The road looks incredibly long.
So long sometimes that you can't even see the end.
And we don't talk about it enough.
How it feels.
Even though everyone experiences loneliness.
It's so difficult just to say the words. I'm lonely.
I'm isolated.
Okay, I have some facts for you if you want to hear them. I pretty much know them off by heart now. 16 to 24-year-olds feel more lonely than any other age group. Young women worry more about how others will react if they say they are lonely.
And are more affected by pressures on social media. And loneliness and isolation can be so much tougher when you're experiencing homelessness.
6 out of 10 homeless service users classify as lonely.
That's
three
times the
the
proportion of over 52s in the UK. A group most associated with being the most lonely in society.
When asked,
65% of young people
Said that they believe that loneliness...
But loneliness.
loneliness is
is a problem for people our age.
Do you know how many young people said they were too afraid of other people's reactions to speak out about their feelings of loneliness?
81%.
You feel alone. That's the problem. You feel like there isn't anyone who cares, or who will listen, or who will understand.
So it's difficult to ask for help. But this is it. We're doing it.
Now, we're asking for your help.
Not being able to fit in. There are certain things that people just take for granted. That people who are homeless and possibly facing money problems and maybe mental health problems too just can't do. Going out with friends. Or even just doing the shopping.
Being stuck in a bedsit, in a hostel, and not having other people who you can talk to. Imagine not speaking to anyone all day, even if it's just a hello or something when walking past someone.
If you've experienced a traumatic event in your lifetime, you might be a bit reserved and push people away. You could be really socially awkward, which makes you unable to actually speak to other people and have difficulty making friends.
It's not like you have your family around you that make you feel supported. Sometimes you just have little things going through your mind, like, I wonder what my family are doing right now. You just can't help thinking, I'd be doing great things if I was with them and I wasn't homeless.
It feels like you have nothing. No support. Like the world is against you. The loneliness consumes you.
You're isolated from the entire world.
You have this feeling of dread. It can bring you down, make you feel depressed. And the time of year is important as well, because that can influence the way you feel too. Especially at Christmas, the thought of spending it alone.
For me, it was finally accepting that this was my way of life. A broken home, no family, and no time for friends. Life's only rewarding factor was having a hot meal at night, and the TV static helping me to get to sleep as it was a voice in the room. It brought comfort.
And the thing is, even when you do ask for help, people are not well informed. Asking for help of a stranger sucks. They think you're after money and that you were just greedy. Homelessness sucks.
At 16, I was in a different place to all my peers at sixth form. They didn't have to go home and cook and clean, wash their clothes and think of bills on top of all their schoolwork. Sixth forms don't always understand what they can do to support you. For me, they didn't understand why I needed extra support. Then I moved to a college and found a similar stance. Nobody knew how to support a 16-year-old living on their own. I was lucky I was placed in the foyer with a friend from primary school. We quickly rekindled our past friendship and stuck together during our time there, but I still felt lonely. We were placed in the town centre, so nightlife at the weekend was always crazy. You could hear music from the bars, people laughing and joking, but you were stuck facing the same four walls every day with little money to go out and have a laugh. Isolating you deeper, you almost felt alien. like being locked up in a prison cell. I eventually became isolated from past friends. They didn't understand my circumstances. It was hard listening to how they had it. Nice home-cooked meals, whilst I was stuck with me last £2 and a couple of vegetables in the fridge, unsure if I was going to have enough money for a washing token that week. In the end, I was stuck having to make friends where I was, in a place where approximately 64 young troubled people were, with no other place to turn. I was surrounded by people who coped with their problems through drugs and alcohol. It was seen as normal. We had 24-hour support from under-trained staff. They were okay, but they weren't psychologists or counsellors. They couldn't access enough support for everyone, so couldn't give residents the tools they needed to cope with situations safely. Another thing that causes loneliness is the hostels, is the fact that you can't afford to work when you live there. Earning minimum wage and the benefits you're given and the rent you have to pay means you actually become worse off when you work. After all of this, you just feel stuck, worthless, and see less reason to better yourself.
Taking part in the Prince's Trust and other projects has helped me feel less anxious and isolated, as the workers in these programs help and engage with young people who are facing tough times. They provide you with the support you need to feel better and grow as a person. These programs are brilliant for young people of any situation and background, as they truly nurture you as an individual.
Art and craft classes in the weekdays at the hostel meant people were doing constructive things together.
Yeah, for me, art was a big help in overcoming feelings of isolation. I've always found it hard to talk about my feelings, so art really helps with that too.
Just having someone checking up on you and seeing if you're doing okay and to see if you have everything you need. That sounds like such a small thing, but it makes a huge difference. Knowing somebody cares about and is thinking about you.
When I was homeless and in temporary accommodation, I used to smoke a lot of weed and drink a lot of alcohol. Then you get in with the wrong crowd and it just spirals from there. But then I got into a relationship with someone like me and that started my life off.
I got support from my friends. One friend managed to help me feel less isolated and alone.
My counsellor, I've had a few counsellors in the past, but one really magnificent one changed my life altogether. Helped me write down my feelings and helped me express them and be able to channel all my emotions. Feeling my emotions and not necessarily acting on them, which helped me a great deal.
I had a brilliant key worker who really looked after me. She was an absolute star. But not everyone has a key worker as good as mine, which is unfortunate.
I think there should be more training for staff who work in youth hostels, including mental health support, and more understanding in schools and colleges as well as universities.
It helped finding others that were like me. It helped to know that there was comfort in the surrealism.
My advice would be to engage with the young person, show them that they matter, offer support through different means, be that work, books, or even local groups such as Tomorrow's Women. It's a local service for women who need a pick-me-up or advice. They offer activities and groups to help people.
If you can afford to do your own mental health training on the side, it will be helpful for those you support. If you're working with a young person at risk, getting their old friends involved with the transition can also help. Talk to them and let them know you are a safe place. Never judge a young person and don't criticise them. They are used to it and probably feel pretty worthless and unloved as it is.
My advice is to improve early intervention in schools or in sessions and one-to-ones, or adverts, leaflets, just advertising everything before someone experiences it.
Keep them occupied, but allow them choice. Keep checking up on them to see if they're okay, or just have a chat now and then with them. It's just about being there for them, isn't it? It's just offering them a cup of tea.
Yes, PG tips.
Nah, Yorkshire tea.
Any tea is fine. It's not about the tea.
It is a bit about the tea.
It's a bit about the tea. Because obviously you feel like you're the only person in the world that's in that situation. So it's all about giving guidance and showing love, isn't it? And showing kindness and consideration to that person as an individual and trying to meet their needs.
Coming from my background, I was very angry. I suffered with drug addiction and had so much resentment and anger in my life. So it was a lot easier to identify and communicate with adults who related to me and had similar experiences.
Get some funding for young people who are facing homelessness to help out with food, some clothes and riffraff.
Support them one-to-one, rather than having people in the middle. Having a bond with them, that helps too.
Also contacts. Just having as many as possible who have places to stay or can get housing as fast as possible.
Treat the person and not the label. One size doesn't fit all.
Communication is important. Keep it simple. And remember, we're not just a number on a system. We're human beings that need a little hand here and there. Our minds race, but that's not us. It's the end of the world for us. Every day. Reassurance is key. And empathy is too.
I learned that there was a lot more support out there, but harder to access it. It's important to understand that services have pushed us back time after time, and that you need to slowly build the relationship up and understand that we feel like everything is against us.
Try and try again. If you give 100% and they give 10%, 10% is better than no percent. Do you know what I mean?
It's a journey, and some days the walk is harder than others. And sometimes it can feel like there's no end in sight. Every individual is different.
But I think it's good to try and join a group of people similar to you and make friends who are willing to be there for you and make an effort.
Talking to people. A problem shared is a problem halved.
Writing your thoughts and feelings down.
Going for a walk.
If you can be open and speak up, the right person will listen.
The feelings you have are real. The reality sometimes may be bleak, but it's temporary.
Keeping busy is the main thing. Find a hobby you're interested in.
For example, I'm a singer. I like to sing. So whenever I face loneliness or isolation or feelings of stress, I write all my feelings down, write them, compose a song, and bam, you've got a new song. That's what helps me. So find something that helps you.
Just keep going. The storm isn't going to pour forever.
You are strong, and you will get through this.
You are not alone.
I know it feels like it.
But please,
Remember,
You are not alone.